Caitlin Clark anymore. We don't need her. Now, unfortunately for them, the dynamics of having a media rights deal is you've got advertisers that networks give a forecast for the amount of viewers that are going to consume games. If they do not meet that forecast, they have to sell more advertisements and give them free advertisements on other games. That's how that works.
The Indiana Fever and the WNBA, as a league, are facing a wave of criticism on two separate fronts simultaneously, and the timing of both has made the backlash significantly harder to contain. The first issue is attendance. The Fever drew 14,505 fans for their most recent home game. Nearly 3,000 short of a full arena. By most accounts, that figure represents the lowest regular season crowd at a Clark home game since she entered the league. The upcoming Wednesday night matchup against the Portland Fire is looking worse. Ticket maps for that game show a sea of available seats throughout the arena, with resale prices dropping to around $11 in some sections.
In other games, that's how that works. If they don't deliver, they got to figure out a way to make it up somewhere. And so we know yesterday in my video, Indiana Fever, 14,505 fans. That's nearly 3,000 off maximum capacity. From what I could tell from all my research, the lowest Caitlin Clark regular season game I've ever seen.
The combination of thin crowds and collapsed secondary market prices is painting a picture that contradicts the narrative that Clark's presence has permanently transformed the franchise's drawing power. The second and louder issue is marketing. The WNBA's promotional material for its NBC and Peacock broadcast featured Angel Reese and Aja Wilson as the headliners, a choice that drew immediate pushback given Reese's historically poor performance just the night before. But what generated far more reaction was the Indiana Fever's own promotional post for the Wednesday game, which featured Raven Johnson as the primary face of the advertisement. Clark, the most recognizable women's basketball player on the planet and the team's undisputed centerpiece, was absent from the promotion entirely. The response from the fan base was swift and overwhelming.
Clark regular season game I've ever seen. The Wednesday night game, folks. Every one of those dots on this screen is an available seat for Wednesday's game. And I'll show you how the league markets itself and the Fever. Because luckily, me having to go to the doctor today and running behind, not able to get to this.
The Fever's post accumulated over 1,000 comments almost immediately, with the ratio of critical responses to positive engagement, making the discontent difficult to dismiss. Fans pointed out that the organization had already gone stretches of up to 48 consecutive hours on multiple occasions over the past several weeks, without posting a single piece of content featuring Clark on their official channels. For a franchise whose entire commercial identity has been rebuilt around one player, that pattern strikes many as not just a strategic error, but something more deliberate. The comparison being drawn most frequently is to the NBA's handling of Michael Jordan during the Bulls' Dennis Stern, who oversaw the league during that era. This comparison made Jordan the centerpiece of virtually every major promotional effort for the better part of 2 decades. The argument is that no competent sports organization, one genuinely trying to grow its audience and maximize revenue, would consistently sideline its biggest asset from its own marketing materials.
Luckily, me having to go to the doctor today and running behind, not able to get to this WNBA video that had to do with Caitlin Clark and the fever give me a gym on top of it because I'm running late. Thanks, fever. I mean, literally, whoever is in your marketing department, have them put on the bozo hair, paint up like Joker, the clown, or Ronald McDonald, or Bozo. Whatever your preference is, put the big-ass shoes on and find you a clown car.
The fact that it keeps happening with Clark, despite the obvious commercial logic pointing in the opposite direction, is what has people questioning whether something beyond poor judgment is driving the decisions. Clark's case for being the face of the franchise needs no elaboration at this point. The on-court profile speaks for itself. A player whose shooting range and playmaking ability draw comparisons to Steph Curry and Larry Bird, with a competitive edge that analysts have placed in the Jordan conversation. Off the court, the attention she generates is in a category of its own relative to anyone else in the league. Ticket prices, television ratings, and merchandise all respond to her presence in ways the rest of the roster simply does not replicate. Raven Johnson, for her part, has earned positive reviews for her attitude and energy since joining the Fever.
Just put the big-ass shoes on and find you a clown car. This league is run by a bunch of haters. I'm starting to think the Indiana Fever hate Caitlin Clark. It's starting to feel that way. The organization does. And some of the things I'm seeing out there involving Stephanie White and Dawn Staley, and I'm like, what is going on here? Let me show you something else. Let me just pull this over so you can see the ticket.
She is not the issue. The issue is the decision-making behind who gets featured and who gets quietly kept in the background, particularly after a round of very public blowback over the WNBA's promotional choices made the league aware of how fans are reading these signals. The fact that the Fever posted their Johnson-fronted promotion in the middle of that backlash, rather than waiting or adjusting course, struck many observers as a conscious response rather than an oversight. The broader media rights situation adds another layer of pressure to all of this. The league recently secured a new deal that significantly elevated its broadcast footprint. That deal comes with advertiser commitments tied to projected viewership numbers.
Pull this over so you can see the ticket prices. $11.80 on this game. Look at all these empty seats. Every one of those little blue dots or pink dots is a freaking empty seat. Wednesday, May 20th, 7 p.m., Portland Fire. I mean, wow. Wow. Let me readjust this.
If those numbers are not delivered, the league owes make good time on other programming. Free advertising to compensate for the shortfall, voluntarily limiting the visibility of the player most responsible for driving viewership. In that context, is a decision with financial consequences that extend well beyond the Fever's local ticket office. Whether the front office's relationship with Clark is genuinely adversarial.
Now, let's come back over here. Yesterday, Do Not Disturb. This was the promotion the WNBA ran for the NBC games and Peacock games yesterday. Angel and Asia Wilson. Okay, I mean, after Angel's game, ooh, but fine. Are you kidding me? Who the...
Cloud Kelly's reaction was immediate. Both players burst out laughing. whole exchange lasted a few seconds, but the clip spread quickly. It was genuinely funny. Clark's expression, leading into the finger wag, alone is worth a gif. For anyone who has followed All-Star Weekend coverage, the friendly dynamic between Clark and Cloud Kelly is not new.
Look, to quote Conor McGregor, who the fuck is this? I mean, no offense. I guess I'm probably supposed to know. I couldn't pick this person out of a lineup. No question, I could not. Raven Johnson on the right. This is who the WNBA decided to put from the Indiana Fever on the promotion for this game? Not Caitlin Clark? Kathy?
During streamed events, Cloud Kelly and Courtney Williams had a running bit where they kept calling Clark the president, turning to her character whenever something went sideways on stream. The joke landed every time. These are two people who clearly get along, and the clip from the game reflects exactly that. Two competitors sharing a moment that both found hilarious. Some corners of the internet treated the exchange as something more loaded than it was. It was not.
Either way, Tisha Heidemann goes, so what happened is this is hilarious. So, is it show the full clip? Yeah. So Caitlin like strips Natisha Heidemann, screams in her face, and then hits her with the finger whack. And then the two of them just start bursting laughing at each other. And this is one of the most like funny clips where this is going to be one of those things where as soon as the first time the Stub Buds go and
It was a steal, a taunt, and two players laughing about it. Nothing more needs to be read into it. The clip arrived on a day that had otherwise been dominated by talk of Clark's sideline argument with the coaching staff. So the contrast was noticeable. After a cycle of tension and debate, a moment this straightforward and funny was a genuine shift in tone. The broader situation around the Fever did not disappear in the meantime.
Buds go and the first time that the Stub Buds go on a stream this year, it's gonna be one of the first things that gets mentioned. Like you're just gonna out of nowhere suddenly start to see like the Stub Buds obviously. If they're on stream, Courtney Williams is going to be like, "Oh yeah, you got blocked by Kate. You got the Kembe Mutombo finger wagged by Caitlin Clark," which is objectively funny.
Colin Cowherd effectively called for Stephanie White's job, which, from a fan standpoint, is not a difficult reaction to understand. When a team plays an unpopular style and fails to build a winning record, that kind of pressure on a head coach is standard .500 last season with Clark on the roster, and the final games of that stretch came against reserve-heavy lineups from the Mystics and Lynx, which inflated the final record slightly. The underlying numbers were not encouraging. There is also a persistent question around the front office,
which is objectively funny. It is a funny situation. The two of them laughed. For me, anyway, this is a harmless, absolutely harmless, and like kind of nothing burger. That being said, it is it's one of those things that people still kind of don't. They think it's a bigger deal than anything else. Like the whole old WNBA are like, oh yeah, you know, we hate Caitlin Clark because of this. It's just too.
Kelly Krauskopf and Stephanie White are seen by many as a package, with Amber Cox also part of that structure. The concern, raised seriously in some quarters, is that Krauskopf might be the one general manager in the league willing to trade Clark in order to protect that coaching arrangement. Whether or not that holds any weight, it is a conversation that is not going away. But none of that is what the finger wag moment was about. Clark does not block many shots. It is simply not a major part of her defensive game.
Two people joking and messing around with each other. Two people that I don't even know. I don't know if they're friends, but like they're very friendly with each other. Like All-Star Weekend was like they were calling Caitlin Clark the president. They were basically any single time her and Courtney Williams were on stream, any single time something was going wrong, it's like, we need to call Caitlin Clark. We need to call Caitlin Clark. And again, response, the president played too much. It's a
On the rare occasion that she does get one, and the player on the receiving end happens to have a genuine rapport with her, the result is exactly what played out here. Cloud Kelly found it hilarious. Clark found it hilarious. The people watching found it hilarious. On a day full of complicated narratives, that was a welcome and simple thing.
It's a funny joke. It is a funny joke. And like I have to say, this is one of these things where some people are looking too much into this. This is two people joking with each other. This is the thing where it was like over All-Star Weekend, there were players that had a problem with the stub buds, had a problem with their stream. And like they had Caitlin Clark, and it was like, you know, some people are trying to avoid him. She's like, I'm trying to find them. Find them. Like, she was like, I'm trying to find them. But yeah, it is a funny thing. The reaction from Natisha Heidemann is hilarious. The reaction from Caitlin Clark is hilarious. Like, that needs to be made a GIF. Just that face into the finger wag. That face into the finger wag needs to be made a GIF. But this is in a day of like weird stuff and like going at some people. And I saw I watched a video about the Stephanie White video. Basically Stephanie White, it was Caitlin Clark is who Stephanie White was supposed to be, and it's personal. I don't agree with that, but there is a few points in that video I agree with. People keep asking me to react to it, but in a day where that's kind of going semi-viral among circles, in my opinion, the biggest point that I agree with is I do believe Kelly Krauskopf and Stephanie White are a package deal, and I believe Amber Cox is there as well. I think the only way you're getting rid of Stephanie White, I think Kelly Krauskopf is the only GM in the WNBA that would trade Caitlin Clark. Like, for me, that is, in my opinion, she is the only GM in the league that will